Hey everyone, welcome to a new route building series. The route that we're looking at, I am building actually for the Milwaukee Road, and it can also be used with the Utah and Rocky Mountain. One of the cities that is not modeled on any of the available routes and is not modeled on my Utah and Rocky Mountain route is the Seattle and Tacoma areas. We run on the Utah and Rocky Mountain a lot of Northern Pacific trains, and those trains went into Seattle. We also run Great Northern, which ran into Seattle. They all came over to this station right here, which is King Street. The Union Pacific and the Milwaukee Road came into Union Station, which was basically across the street from King Street, and is this area here. So this route is a simple, very small route that's going to provide this end terminus and the ability to turn trains and to run them back, to service them and get them turned around so that they can head back onto the other layouts. Eventually, this layout, the key areas of the layout, I should say, are going to be copied and pasted onto a DEM route of the overall Seattle area. That is to come. That will be my exploration into using Trainz DEM and also the Surveyor 2.0 software. I want to get into that tool because I have a feeling in the next few renditions of Trainz, at some point they're going to abandon the old Surveyor tool. So I need to get myself into that tool. So this would be a good project to, when we get into the DEM data nature of it, it'll be a good tool to start learning how to use. And you can follow all this because I'll probably do a route building episode, so you can watch all the nonsense as I learn how to do this. But anyway, with that said, last week I actually started this route, and I decided, I'm going to go ahead and make a episode series out of this, and then once we have this finished, we will incorporate it into the episodes for the Milwaukee Road and also for the episodes using the Utah and Rocky Mountain Railroad. So with that said, last week I did make some progress. There's only one problem with my progress, and we'll get to that in a second. But I basically set up Union Station. Now the Union Station that is available on the DLS, let me pull it up and I'll show you why I did not use it. So here's what Union Station in Seattle actually looks like. And I've been in this building, and it is just beautiful. This central area is the waiting room, and it reminds me a lot of the Union Station in Washington, D.C., the way it looks on the inside. And then back here was the concourse, and there were actually stairs because the platforms were sitting down below street level, basically. And unfortunately, where the tracks would go with the station, and we have this big, huge office building. So this is what Union Station looks like today. When they ripped out all the tracks of Union Station, they basically built office buildings on top of all that. So I can't use this model. That's the end game. Now, hopefully, maybe someone who's seeing this knows how to make this type of scenery object. I believe the notation in the files said that it's from Google SketchUp, and maybe they can basically make a version of this that is just Union Station. And if that happened, then we could replace this building with that building, and it would actually look more like what it should be looking like. But I felt that this building here basically gives you the idea of that building and meets our needs. So that's what we're running with. Now over here is King Street, and we lucked out on King Street because King Street, this is what it looks like, and we don't have any modern buildings around it. So we can actually use this model. And the fun is going to come because this is street level. If you look over here, this is all street level up here, and so I'm going to have to put in find some bridges that we can mimic the street level with, and then there's like a bridge that goes here that currently in today's world is actually street level, and this is where those office buildings we were talking about would be. So with all that said, let's get to the first issue at hand on this tile, and that is if you look at my compass here, we have everything facing in the wrong orientation. To show you that, let's go over to Google Maps. And we'll type in Seattle Union Station. So here's Union Station right here. We might be able to do some things here. Here, we can... I know what we can do. There we are. So there's Union Station. Let's see. Can we get this guy down here? And so here it is. This is what Union Station looks like. Here's that big ugly building. And if we turn over here, you can see that here's King Street Station right here. And where that parking lot is showing, that's at street level. And these are all bridges. And if you look at old pictures of Seattle, these were all bridges over here. And what is below, so what is below these bridges here are the platforms for King Street. And that was the level that all the trains over here were on. So ground level of this building back here was where all the tracks were. And I think... And then there's the front of the building. So that is what we're trying to model. And it's very hard to get what things looked at. And I have been using Copilot actually to orient myself with what the track looked like. Now, we have to keep in mind when you use AI that AI has a tendency to hallucinate, and it will make up stuff. And Copilot, with regards to the Milwaukee Road, is making up stuff. And so you have to be very careful. And for example, I told it I was going to flip things around so that it's facing, the station's facing to the north. And what it is telling me is that the front doors of the station face north. And then the platforms, it says face southeast. Okay, so facing southeast would be like this. And it says it's facing southeast towards I-5. When you have it overlay that onto the Google map, it's bringing the tracks out like this. And that's not correct because the tracks went directly by. If you look at pictures of Union Station, so like I can tell it, are there any photos of the Milwaukee Road Olympian at Seattle Union Station? So it's going to come up with some pictures. And AI is a great tool to use when you're building a route because you just have to check what it's telling you. That's probably the biggest thing. So let's see. Let's see if we can find some of these pictures. Okay, so here is a picture. So we're looking towards King Street. So that is towards King Street Station. And here's that road that runs right next door to Union Station. Here's the back end of Union Station. And you'll notice that the platforms are coming straight back from the back of that building. Okay, and so that fits more with what I'm doing here than what Copilot is telling me to do. So, just a point. But anyway, what we need to do is get the orientation flipped. And so what I'm going to do that, I'm going to come over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a tile next door. And then we're going to go down to our tools. And what we want to pick up over here, we don't care about the height. We don't need the textures because this is just a generic background, but we do want to collect the buildings in the track. And what I'm going to show you is how I intend to basically install this track work from this layout onto the DEM layout. So with that said, what we're going to do here is we're going to grab Union Station, and I'm going to click the paste button. And now what we want to do is orient our map so that north is up. So we know that north is up, and we still have it facing south. So I'm going to take my rotate tool and I'm going to flip it. Now when I put this in, that flips it. Okay, so I'm going to take that away because I want to get it just a little. I don't know if it's going to let me do that. I think it looks only at quarters. So I see these are slanted a little bit. We may just have to live with that. So I don't feel like redoing it. Isn't that nice? Okay, so here's that station flipped around. And now we're going to come get King Street. And the reason I'm doing this on new tiles is because I don't want to have to sit and basically redo all this. So now I'm going to flip it around. Now King Street is over here. It's right next to it. Oop. And, oop, I don't like that. There we go. And now we're going to make that tile disappear. Okay, so now we have our our route fixed. We're oriented to the north, and we can continue on with our build for this route. And I'm not going to worry too much about any of the alignment of stuff here. So with that said, now the next thing is to build the throat, which closes up this. And I'm basically gonna bring everything to a central point. So what we'll do is grab the track, and this track will be the one that I use as my center. And now we're gonna make sure it's straight. And now I'm going now let's see. We don't need this to be so long. That makes it so that we can get this all so that it's there. I think what I may do is add a ruler in here so we can measure from center to center. 47 feet. Okay, so where's 47 feet? That's about as close as we're going to get it. There we go. Now, what does that do? Okay, so there we go. So there are our dimensions for for the throat, basically. So now let's take this. Now, which side was the baggage express located at Seattle Union Station? East side. Okay, so now with us pointing to the north, I need to remove this stuff, and that actually makes sense. From what I've seen in pictures. Okay, so before we get sidetracked, let's start making this thing happen. Actually, Trying to think if I'm doing this right. This needs to be to here. This needs to be to here. That's the lead. And this needs to come to here. That goes to there. That goes to there. And this needs to go to here. Okay, so we get rid of that, and I get rid of that. There we go. Now, let's go in and get rid of our bogus switches here. Now we don't need these rollers. Let's see. Get our track to straighten out a little bit.
Cold hand on a paper cup, steam curls like a waking pup. You laugh from your truck bed seat, boots swing, never miss a beat. Meet me down by the riverbend, honey, where the red clay stains our feet. You hum that tune and I'll lose my worry on your off-key harmony. Every hard day softens up in that riverbank coffee cup. Sun hits on your crooked grin. You say, guess we're late again. But you dance on the gravel road, spilling jokes like they're all you own. Meet me down by the riverbend, honey, where the red clay stains our feet. You hum that tune and I'll lose my worry on your off-key harmony. Every hard day softens up in that riverbank coffee cup. One day we'll be gray and slow, same dirt, same lazy flow. You'll shake that cup at me, hey, I'm buying if you'll still stay. Meet me down by the riverbend, honey, where the red clay stains our feet. You hum that tune and I'll lose my worry on your off-key harmony. Every hard day softens up in that riverbank coffee cup. Every hard day softens up in that riverbank coffee cup.
Okay, that looks good. Okay, so let's get this here. We need the ruler. So they sat parallel. So let's get our track cleaned up because we've been moving things around. That. There's the. Oh, I see, it's this thing that makes it look like that. Okay, now let's put a ruler on here. And it's set about parallel to the tracks. So I would say probably start. Let's start back here. Okay, so 300 feet. So roughly about there. And then it'll be easier this time to build this. So we got that ready. Let's get our track again. I did that over here, didn't I? And they had a put it over here because this is where we'll put the building. Now, actually, let me think about this. Since we're over here, we could probably do this. I gotta pick a building that we like. Okay, let's go over here. Railway Express. Alright, so those are just cars. It. This one looks like NH. That's nice. NH. Like that, but it curves. Let's see. I don't know how accurate that is, but I kind of like that. Let's see if we can put that over here. Put that over here. go. $39. Six feet. Okay, there we go. We got that into the throat. And I think that is where we're going to leave this episode. On our next episode, we'll continue our work trying to get everything put together here. We can take this side out. Let's see. That goes there. And then this building, I'm gonna move. I can use that. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. That's back to normal. This looks good. I'm thinking that we can use this building. Go. Okay, so with that, we are finished with this episode. In our next episode, we'll continue our work on Union Station. We're going to add a tile to the south end here and start working on the track work that allows our trains to turn around and leave this station. If you like this type of content, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button. Your subscription is free and it helps to ensure that this type of content remains on YouTube. And if you'd like to help us grow our audience, like the episode, please leave your comments and suggestions. That's really good. Your comments and suggestions are important in a route building episode. I'm open to anything or any information you may have on the Seattle Union Station. You can point me to resources that'll help us to make this track work as close to prototypical as we possibly can. Because as I said, we're kind of working blind. The footprint of what was once Seattle Union Station, track-wise, does no longer exist in Seattle. And as you go down the what is now the BNSF tracks, there are areas that look like they may have been the approaches into Union Station, but they could just simply be industrial sidings that were once part of Northern Pacific. So with that said, any information you can provide to help with this build, that would be great. We're not going to worry about elevations on the track at this point in time, or there's not going to be any grades. I'm going to keep it very simple, because really the main purpose of this layout once it's finished is to temporarily give us an endpoint for running trains on our episodes. but ultimately this becomes a palette that we're going to merge into the dem root so that I have access to it, and we can copy paste what we built here. We can copy it off this tile and move over to the dem layout and paste it over there to speed up the build of the station area, since we've already done this work. So with that said, I'll see you on the next one.